he says, look, you're living up in this tent, and I've got this nice house of cedar. He says, look, I want to build a house for you. Now, you know, when David wanted to build a house for Yovav, that was a good thing. Amen? It wasn't like he wanted something crazy. And at first, you know, the prophet says, go and do what's in your heart. Then the word of Yovav comes to the prophet, he comes back, and he says, and that wasn't a bad thing that David wanted to do. He had good intentions. He had very good intentions. But he said, then he comes back to him and he says, no, you're not going to, God spoke to the prophet. The prophet comes back to David. He says, David, no, you're not going to build that house. Your son's going to build the house. Now at that point, David has a choice to make. At this point, where Yovav says, no, you're not going to go into the land over here, Moshe has a choice to make. Amen? Now, how we respond to certain things is going to determine how things work out. Amen? Talks of Yeshua, talks about the sufferings of Yeshua. Talks about the sufferings of Yeshua. Now I want to talk a little thing right here, because the issue with Moshe, he got tired of their nonsense in the wilderness. Okay? And he realized, being the greatest prophet that ever lived, that they weren't listening to him when he brought him up to the rock the second time. And he realized, he says, you people aren't going to believe, are you? You people aren't going to do what Yovav says, are you? And so he gets irate and he smacks the rock. Now, I don't believe he was faked out at that point. I don't think he was faked out at that point. The reality is, he had 2.5 to 3 million people that needed water, and not a little bit, and their animals. Can you imagine? I once looked at a study that showed how many train cars of water, those big tanker cars you see on trains, how many tank cars it would take to water that many people and animals per day. It's amazing. He needed water, and he needed it right then. And he realized these people aren't going to get this. I don't think Moshe was faked out. I think he struck that rock. He struck that rock. And he wasn't faked out. No more than Yeshua was faked out on Calvary. The Romans just didn't get over on him. You know that? The Romans did that wasn't a surprise. You know that? Matter of fact, I said that to a rabbi once in an Orthodox synagogue. I said, are you saying to me, Rabbi, that one man did something that caused his death so that everyone else could live? Is that what you're saying, Rabbi? And he looked over his shoulder, and he looked at me, and he just looked at me, and he goes, yeah. Yeah. Amen. Amen. So there's something in that too, I think. There's something in that little story. By that way, that was at the rabbi's house in his Kabbalah class. And I'm showing him where that was an analogy. That was an analogy of Mashiach right there. Oh, and by the way, for those of you that get all freaked out about those kind of things, you know, there are a lot of Christians that say that Isaiah 53 doesn't have to do with physical healing. And there are a lot of rabbinic Jews that say that Isaiah 53 isn't to do with Messiah. Did you know that? A lot of rabbinic Jews say that, no, that doesn't do with Messiah. You know what? The Zohar said it's both. It's about physical healing and about the Mashiach. That's sort of interesting. Okay. Now, do not continue to speak to me further about this matter. Ascend to the top of the cliff. Ascend. Ascend. Raise your eyes. Raise your eyes up. Yeah, what it says in there. Cal, it says that Isaiah 53 is about physical healing and it's about the Messiah. Interesting. Look up. Look up. Raise your eyes. Raise your eyes. Look up, for your redemption draweth nigh. Amen. Raise your eyes westward, northward, southward, and eastward, and see with your eyes. For you shall not cross the Jordan, but you shall command Yahshua, Yehoshua. That's a Hebrew name. I'm just saying what a book said, Cal. But you shall command Yahshua, Yehoshua, which is Yeshua's Hebrew name. Amen.